everybody. I'm Mike Wilson with Comcast. Today, I'm announcing a partnership with three pretty amazing colleges who are willing to work through quite a bit in order to get some good results for, I think, what will amount to be a good portion of the state. We're taking a critical second step as well with the Indiana Commission for Higher Education. When Comcast first paired up with the state's Higher Education Commission for You Can Go Back, that was a big initiative announced in February, we learned that 700,000 plus Hoosiers had started some amount of college, but actually didn't have any degree or certification. And when you think about the fact that we have 6.5 million Hoosiers, it's more than 10% of the population of Indiana. So when you put those figures together, I think it really shows a critical need to do what we can to help out. So Teresa Lubbers and the Commission for Higher Ed stepped up, Comcast stepped up, and of course our college partners here stepped up to break down what is probably the biggest hurdle that students face when deciding to go back to college. And that hurdle is, of course, cost. Comcast has long had a reimbursement program. We've invested $5,750 per year in students that get a C or better and have worked with Comcast for 6 months. So it's a relatively, in the grand scope of things, generous reimbursement program. But what we were able to do is leverage that reimbursement program with our college partners to remove all of the upfront costs, excluding books and that kind of thing. But also to help reimburse the tuition and essentially send people back to school for a very marginal cost. So as far as upfront costs of college, the real success of this partnership is that all three schools that we're partnering with are holding the upfront payment. So that is huge and critical to the success of our employees and really helps with their decision-making process. How do we go back to school and how do we afford it? So what I'd like to do right now is talk about someone who has been fantastic and has been on the front lines of watching what it takes for people to succeed. And right now I'd like to introduce Dennis Bland, talking about the importance of college, especially for the 700,000 Hoosiers who started but did not complete a degree. The chairman of the Indiana Commission of Higher Education, Dennis Bland. Thank you so much for coming, sir.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. It is my honor to be here on behalf of the entire Indiana Commission for Higher Education. We are so impressed by the partnership we're here today to announce and celebrate. This is a completely self-initiated collaboration between an Indiana employer and our Indiana colleges. And it all started with a simple conversation between representatives from Comcast, Indiana, and Indiana college representatives from Ivy Tech, WGU, Indiana, and Indiana Wesleyan. So just a few questions to ponder. What education benefits does Comcast currently offer employees? What barriers exist to getting more employees to go back to college or earn a higher degree? What can Indiana colleges offer to remove those barriers and increase opportunities? Comcast is a key employer partner for Indiana's You Can Go Back program, and this partnership supports Indiana's efforts to get Hoosier adults to go back to school and finish the degrees they started. As has been stated earlier, there are almost 700,000 of these adults currently in our state who have some college credit, and through this partnership, we would love to help them cross the finish line. Efforts like this one that employers lead and facilitate for their employees help Indiana reach its goal for 60% of adults to have some kind of credential beyond high school by the year 2025. This 60% goal is tied directly to Indiana's future job market and to the level of education Hoosiers will need in order to secure good jobs and quality lives for their families. Comcast's efforts to forge this partnership don't just benefit Comcast employees today. These efforts are helping to shape a stronger Indiana for tomorrow. And research shows that Comcast is likely to see quick returns for their investment. For example, a recent Lumina Foundation study of Cigna Corporation's employee benefit program showed significant returns on investment. For every dollar Cigna invested in its education reimbursement program, it saved an additional $1.29. Employee retention and advancement, a strong employee-friendly reputation that attracts top talent, and a stronger economic and education base in Indiana. These are all compelling reasons for more companies to take Cigna and Comcast's lead. The Indiana Commission for Higher Education is encouraging more businesses to learn about the opportunities available through these employees, or for their employees. Through strong partnerships with quality Indiana public and private colleges, we are offering tools to help businesses forge partnerships of their own. For example, OneTwo is an employer match website. Visit youcangoback.org, youcangoback.org, and click on the Indiana Employer button. A quick online survey tells us everything we need to know to connect employers with Indiana colleges that can help employers explore opportunities for employees. Another tool is an employee higher education checklist. Working with Comcast and the Indiana colleges represented today, the Commission created a short, easy-to-follow checklist to help more businesses form meaningful partnerships to advance employee education programs. We will be working with our partners around the state to share these resources. Finally, I just want to commend Comcast for taking this step for employees. I would also like to express special thanks to our colleges, WGU Indiana, and the president, Allison Barber, you'll meet soon, Ivy Tech Central Indiana, and Indiana Wesleyan. Thank you all. You are all leading the way to greater prosperity for more Hoosiers, and we are happy to support your efforts. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dennis. And it took a lot of hard work and enthusiasm, I think, on everybody's part in this partnership. And I don't think anybody embodies that general atmosphere better than Allison Barber, the chancellor at Western Governors University, who was so helpful in showing that encouragement and also having the wisdom and the background to help us sort of navigate a lot of this process. And I want to introduce you right now, Chancellor. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Thank you. And thank you, Mike, for your leadership and vision in this partnership. I'd like to tell you why I love Comcast. When we launched WGU Indiana 6 years ago, I met Heather. Heather was a single parent working 5 part-time jobs. And because WGU Indiana is online and our tuition was and still is only $6,000 a year, Heather got a bachelor's degree. And when she finished that degree, do you know what Comcast did? They hired her. And Heather came back to WGU Indiana to get her master's degree. And do you know what Comcast did then? They promoted her. Heather demonstrates that Comcast is committed and values higher education and their employees. And so we're thrilled to be a partner in this collaboration and initiative because, like Comcast, we are committed to helping Hoosiers achieve their dream of degree attainment and career success.
And another big help on this project, of course, one of our partners here, Ivy Tech, which means so much to, out of our employees, about 2,600 roughly in the state of Indiana as a whole. So many of them are techs, and I can't think of a higher education institution that would maybe better serve them in their current roles and help them move up more than Ivy Tech. And I'd like to introduce Chancellor Kathy Lee. Thank you so much for coming today.
My pleasure. We are really thankful at Ivy Tech to be part of this partnership. Much like Allison said, it's the stories of the individuals that Comcast represent and other companies here in Indiana could have the opportunity to do as well. We know that not everyone needs a 4-year degree, and some folks can only dream of getting a 4-year degree, and that Ivy Tech offers an entry-level opportunity for folks with both certifications, technical certificates, and associate degrees that can lead on. But what Comcast has done is shown us a way to tell their employees, much like we need to tell the rest of the state of Indiana, it's okay to go back, and there's a way to do it. And there are steps that we can take along with the college partners that are here today and others in the commission and the model that Comcast has provided to give us the steps to show the state of Indiana you too can go back to college, and it's not scary, it's not painful, and more importantly, with a partner and an employer like Comcast, it's totally affordable. And so we're proud to be part of this partnership, to work alongside WGU and Indiana Wesleyan to give the employees at Comcast a new start and new ways to look at their ability to move up through the system. So thank you for making this possible, and we're glad to be part of it.
David Rose with Indiana Wesleyan University, he's the vice president. We first sat down months and months ago when we started working on this project. And when we first sat down, we chatted about that big hurdle that students have, that initial payment up front. And he said with probably more confidence than I'd seen, he said, well, just hold it. Like, oh, you can just hold the payment? And so I learned actually that they could actually hold the payment, and that, it wasn't too difficult a process after all, and that's what really got the ball rolling on, I think, one of the most significant parts of this partnership that we have. And so I want to thank you very much, David Rose, for that idea and introduce you to the stage, sir.
Indiana Wesleyan is just very excited to see the state's renewed effort and a more aggressive effort in trying to educate our populace. Indiana Wesleyan is a faith-based institution founded in 1920, a not-for-profit institution, and has a residential campus in Marion, Indiana, serving a traditional aged population of 18 to 22, 3,000 students who come from many different walks of life. But starting in 1985, Indiana Wesleyan took up the charge of trying to make education more accessible to a non-traditional student, folks who have real-life responsibilities, whether it may be spouses, children, 5 part-time jobs, for them to go and experience education and receive further training in a residential environment just doesn't make sense for their stage in life. So since that time, Indiana Wesleyan has expanded to 18 different regional campuses in the Midwest and has been offering fully online programs since 1998. 80 different degrees, from an associate degree to a doctorate degree. So being able to make education accessible so that it's convenient, that you can do it from wherever you're at, and cost effective with the partnerships that you're seeing created, there are the hurdles to coming back and finishing that degree and receiving that additional training are being reduced all the time. So Indiana Wesleyan is just very excited to be a part of this partnership and see really Comcast being a thought leader in pushing this envelope further and seeing the advantages of having an educated workforce. Thank you.
And the number that we talked about, I think it is a staggering number, more than 700,000 Hoosiers starting, but not completing a degree or even a certification. And I think that does sort of speak to a statewide issue. And so I thought, who better than someone who's very close to actually 2 of our largest facilities, district-wise, Senator Jim Merritt, and thank him for helping us to get the word out about this, Senator.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, WGU. Thank you, Indiana Wesleyan. Thank you, Ivy Tech. And thank you, Comcast. This is a terrific day. We're right now in a critical point in time with workforce development in the state of Indiana. And before I get on with my remarks, thank you to the media, and thank you all for being here, because it's very important that someone from all the way to Lake Michigan to the Ohio River, they have to hear about this. It's communication. It's just like anything else. If you don't hear about these sorts of programs, you can't participate in it. And with Senate Bill 301, which comes at a critical time this year, I think it's one of the top 3 bills that we actually passed and the governor signed this year that realigns, that opens up workforce development with all the different players. We are at a point in time where everybody ought to know that they can go back. You hear every day, jobs coming to the state of Indiana. And we want Hoosiers to be able to compete with those jobs when they're coming here. And this program is so invaluable for that effort. And I am just pleased that there's so much teamwork, because the only way in the world that we're going to be successful here is everybody work together, because we're in a crisis situation right now. When jobs come to Indiana, when companies grow their own here, we want everybody to be eligible. We want everybody to be trained. We want everybody to have the anticipation that they have a chance. And having programs that you can go back later in life is just the essence and the start of growing Indiana and making sure that Main Street, Indiana becomes what we want it to be, a growth center, a job center. Thank you very much.
And I would just close by saying that we can encourage all businesses to reach out, because it did take us 4 months, but I don't want every business to have to reinvent the wheel. So work with the state government. Work with colleges that meet the needs of your employees. If your employees are on a track somewhere, or maybe they don't have one yet, maybe you could help develop one for them. So there are so many options that businesses can have in order to encourage higher education for their employees, but also add to the state's GDP, add to the economy, because that's exactly what this initiative does. It fills those good jobs, it creates better jobs, and this is a jobs initiative, and this is a higher education initiative that I hope will work well with this partnership for many years to come. And thank you all, and thank you so much for coming. I'll also be available for interviews afterwards.